Well, what officials call the worst case of abuse in Cherokee County's history will soon be in the hands of a jury.
In 2022, 14-year-old Heather Boehner died from neglect. The teen had several serious medical conditions, including cerebral palsy. Investigators say she was confined to a crib and living in filthy conditions. Her mother, father, and brother are all now on trial for murder charges, and they're also facing charges of child abuse. Our camera was the only one inside the courtroom today, as the state and the defense both rested their cases. Fox County's Grace Runkel has followed this case since the beginning closely for us. Grace, you join us now to break down a big debate the judge had to settle before they could turn the case over to the jury. What was that?
Well, the defense asked the judge for a directed verdict. Now, that's fairly standard. They were essentially asking the judge to throw out the case because they say the state did not meet its burden of proof. Now, these were the conditions inside the home where Heather was living when she died. Investigators say the home in Cherokee County was infested with roaches and maggots and covered in feces. They also say Heather's parents canceled all of her doctor's appointments during the last year of her life. Again, Heather was very medically fragile. Now, with the charge of murder, the state has to prove that the parents and Heather's brother did all of these things with the intent to kill her. The defense says there's no evidence of that.
They still have to prove an intent to cause death. And there's no intent to cause death. There's no evidence that they intended to cause a death in this case. Even if they have evidence that they ignored the conditions of their house, that's evidence of negligence. It's not evidence of an intent to commit the offense of murder.
It's important to know that South Carolina also has a crime called homicide by child abuse. For that crime, the state does not have to prove intent, but it only applies in cases where the child is 11 or younger. In court today, Solicitor Barry Barnett says he wishes that law was expanded to include older children, but he thinks in this case, murder still does apply.
It's her body that's the evidence of this. The house is just part of the neglect that led to all this, but her body alone is in that situation.
The Cherokee County coroner says Heather went a year without seeing a doctor, and the neglect she faced caused other serious medical issues that ultimately led to her death. Now, tomorrow we'll be hearing those closing arguments, and we plan on being back in court for those and for the start of deliberations. Grace Runkel, Fox Carolina News.